Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network, for the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews. Press 1.
Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. In a world where action movies are constantly exploding at the box office, our heroes take on the monumental task of dissecting and analyzing all aspects of action movies to truly understand what it takes to make a great action film. Ben Bateman, Andrew Ghai, in a Popcorn Talk Network exclusive. This is Action Movie Anatomy.
Boom! Welcome to the show! The explosion's back! We got our explosion back. It's been gone for so long. This is Action Movie Anatomy. I'm your host, Ben Bateman. We have special guests. We have so many special guests that I'm so excited. This is Action Movie Anatomy on Popcorn Talk, the online network dedicated to talking movies and all things movie related. And this is Action Movie Anatomy, a movie show where we talk about the most explosive and exciting movies, even if it is just emotionally. Like this one.
Exactly. Emotional explosions.
Yeah, I'm Ben Bateman, joined by my trusted co-host, Andrew Ghai.
What's up, guys? Happy to be back. Happy to talk Taking. And look at our friends we got today. We got friends. We got two of them.
We have two special guests.
My mom and my sister. I was actually talking about them. Yeah, I know.
Would you like to introduce your family?
Yeah, so this is my beautiful mother, Sue, and my awesome sister, Leslie, who is also beautiful, but I wanted to use a different adjective.
Your adjective use is terrible. Right
horrible.
Just awful.
They're nice. So thanks for coming.
I like them.
And we have the folks from Guilty Movie Pleasures who we just guested on their show, and they're here. We have Josh Macuga and Ben Begley.
Yeah, I was absent from my own show. That was real fun.
Good job,
I
man.
did great, just a ghost man on second work in the baseball.
Just shut up.
You were good.
I don't understand the reference, sir. I apologize.
Yes.
If you were in the middle of a joke, you can finish it.
No, it's okay. It was a joke about baseball.
Ben's comedy schemings is like he gets a punchline and then he just trails off. And what else? What
Did I
else?
catch a niner? Did I catch a niner in
Yeah,
there?
That's my goal, yeah.
Talkie.
And here's the punch. Anyways, yeah.
This is fun. I've never had someone on my right and my left on the show before. This is
It's gonna be like a ping pong
going
match.
back and forth.
I'm just gonna go gangbang, but
Come on!
okay, sorry.
My mother is here!
Mother Sue is here.
Yep, that was the only inappropriate thing I'll say all show.
Oh, definitely.
I doubt it.
Definitely.
Well, you started off with gangbang. How much worse
I'm
could it
on
get?
top and I'm going bottom.
So, guys, this is a show where
On
we talk
top of
about
the
action
gangbang.
movies, and today we were talking about a movie called The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 from 2009. It's a remake. It's a movie that I love. I have a penchant for this film. It's one of my favorite movies, and
Ben, the same way that I was dying to do Gladiator, Ben wanted to do Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
which should speak volumes about our personalities.
You're comparing the Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3
To Gladiator.
That's what I'm saying. Gladiator is my favorite movie of all time. Hands
Ever.
down. Ever.
Even over Braveheart?
I do love Braveheart. Those are the two.
I think Braveheart's better than Gladiator.
I think we can
I also have,
discuss
Boogie Nights in there.
I think we
but-
can discuss the virtues of Commodus versus Ryder. I don't know. I mean, they're close in villain ranking.
Very
Anyway,
similar.
We choose movies on the show that adhere to 4 basic rules. So other than being made after 1981, the hero always plays by their own rules. That is rule number 1. Rule number 2, the hero and the villain are always the smartest people or beings or things or aliens or whatever in the room. Rule number 3, one that we just kind of changed and updated a little bit, is that the movie is driven by a police, military, mercenary, or political figure. What that means is he either is the man or works for the man, which is why this movie applies, because he works for the man.
Ben just changed the rules for the show for this movie as well.
And then the movie contains a
Makes
minimum
sense.
of at least one explosion, which is funny because this movie doesn't have an explosion.
It has car crashes, but I would also argue that
Does car crashes include explosions?
Emotional explosions
Would you
in my heart while watching?
Sure.
Would you say though that the hero plays by his own rules, or
He took a bribe.
or by John Travolta's rules until the very end? For most of it, he's just playing by John Travolta's rules.
No, he's
right?
definitely playing by his own rules.
Really?
Oh yeah, he doesn't. He refuses to be talked to with disrespect.
Listen,
he
the
engages
only
him like
way
a
that
man.
I can agree with you on this one is that it's Denzel Washington and he plays by his own
always
rules
plays by
in
his
every
yeah.
movie and life and
at
everything.
all times.
Yes.
So before we get into the show and show the trailer, I should remind everybody that there are other shows on the Popcorn Talk Network. We have gentlemen from one of them here, Guilty Movie Pleasures. There's also Anatomy of a Movie that gets out every Friday, and they cover the brand new movies of the week, kind of similar to what we do. Find us on iTunes. We have, I think, 18 reviews now, and once we get to 20, we're going to stop giving mugs away. But we have We have 2 more random entries. We're gonna give another mug
We
away
should
at the
do
end of the
that.
show.
No, should we get the last
Today.
two and get the last 2 mugs?
Yeah, right.
No, I was saying we should have people
Yes.
review our show
Oh,
on
yeah.
iTunes and give away mugs. We
It's just
don't,
a
we don't
bunch
pay
of
for the
middle
mugs.
finger emojis.
We
fuck you guys.
We baited our fans into giving us ratings to
Oh,
give
nice.
mugs away.
It's the only reason people actually watch this show is to get mugs.
We went from 0 ratings and reviews to like 20 of each. We're gonna start giving mugs away. So yeah, we're gonna give another mug away at the end of the show today.
Solid.
Look at that.
So
Okay.
go do that and check out these guys' show. And
I'm gonna start giving away DVDs from my DVD collection.
Yeah,
after the
so
show.
many.
I don't need them.
I only have 2. I can't give any more away.
It's okay. We'll just pretend some of them are from yours.
Oh, okay.
And I have Tremors 2, Tremors. I bought the value pack.
Dude, Tremors is awesome. You guys could come on Guilty Movie Pleasures again and talk Tremors.
Yeah,
'cause I would.
definitely.
Fred Ward, love Fred Ward. Kevin Bacon, excellent. Let's
Michael Gross.
let's show the trailer for the Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, and then get into the show.
Do it. Just Tony Scott
my
all up in your
goodness.
faces. Yeah.
I hate that frame rate he uses over
It's
and over again.
crazy, right?
Over and over again. He just used it for 5 movies straight.
Yep.
Domino, almost the entire movie is
Yeah.
that.
Dude, it's so gritty though. It's so gritty and stylized.
And there's nothing better than a Travolta mustache.
Travolta is so not intimidating ever in
Ever.
this
It's
movie.
and the fact that 99 Problems is the song
Yeah.
the movie opens on.
He's more intimidating trying to say your name at an award show than he is actually
Yeah,
in an
that's a
action
good point.
movie.
His facial hair for a while there was just like a.
Open the door. Do it now,
Atrocity.
or I'll fucking kill you. I'll fucking kill you.
Was it Swordfish where he had the super soul patch?
Yeah. Oh man,
The super
he's
song.
so dirty in that movie.
This you don't realize how much facial hair goes into this movie. Denzel
yeah.
with the goatee.
Extreme facial grooming.
This is the man who is going to give this city a run for its money.
I love it. God, I love this movie.
And-
Not a good movie.
I don't understand Wall Street, but I'm pretty sure it makes no sense what happens.
I don't either. I just went with it.
What's the better trailer, this or the new Star Wars trailer?
Probably this.
I was Airborne is pretty solid, but I mean I was gonna go with Star Wars. Close second, Pelham 1, 2, 3. Here's the one thing that makes this movie a little weaker. Is John Turturro to me.
It's so pointless.
Yeah.
He left this movie to go and film Transformers the same day. Same outfit.
Just the
He
same
just
role.
basically comes in and goes, I'm gonna do some stuff. Oh shit, I can't do anything. Never mind, you're gonna do some stuff now.
I'll be up.
I'm gonna give you that nod.
I'm gonna
that you're
give you
doing things right.
2
every
lines
now
of
and then.
advice.
The trailer looks so much more exciting than the movie actually is while watching.
Oh yeah.
My friend Jerry Hughes was operating.
That's Jared.
Oh, Phil Ramos.
Phil Ramos.
You know why? Because they cram in a montage of every single
Everything.
of that one long police
movie.
chase.
This trailer gives away more than the Southpaw trailer.
Yeah.
And like Denzel running.
This is enough of a car crash explosion.
I know. We were the whole time that it was happening. Ben was just like, "It's got to be an explosion.
Yeah.
That car has got to blow up."
First off,
no.
Like the Simpsons fall on the ground.
My God, that literally gives away the entire
end.
movie.
Yeah. Like he's got the gun out of the bag. He's on
I'm
a bridge.
glad I didn't watch that before watching the movie.
I would have been very upset.
Tony Scott was like,
to
"Do
do
we
it
have to
right.
Here's
erase
the
the
thing.
movie?"
Can I just say the ambulance crash? Like, it's just logic. All emergency frequencies would know where this caravan of $10 million is going. There
Right.
wouldn't be an accidental ambulance like, oh shit, we gotta get this patient. Oh, oops!
Right.
And then launch it off a bridge.
You would get a police escort, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it was absurd. That was just like, well, we gotta throw, like you guys said, we gotta throw an explosion or something in.
Yeah, it just had to make it exciting. So,
Yes.
so yeah, the format of the show here, guys, is we're gonna start with a thesis statement,
Okay.
and this is like a bold statement, something that you have decided about the movie. That is, shouldn't be rooted in like something soft. It should be kind of like hyperbole. This is the best example of this, or this is the greatest X, Y, or Z. It's kind of the way we do the show. So,
I'm gonna go first.
oh yeah,
How you feel about that?
go. I guess go ahead. I have
I'm
a
gonna
good
write
one.
mine out.
Yeah, right. I gotta come up with one. No, it doesn't have to do exactly with this movie. It just is that Tony Scott is the most specifically stylized director of our time.
Over Michael Bay.
Over Michael Bay, over the Camerons, over the Spielbergs, like the feel, because all those movies and all those directors have like their thing that they do. And Michael
Over
Bay,
Wes Anderson?
even over Wes Anderson.
That's
Wow.
a
That
You
is a
watch
bold
this.
statement.
You watch this trailer, and the first thing that what was the first thing that you said, Ben?
Jay-Z.
The frame rate.
Yeah.
It was a very Jay-Z. The very first thing that you noticed was the frame rate, and then it goes right into the music. It goes into the cuts. It even has the times on there in
Yeah.
the trailer. He is literally the exact same for these 3 movies: Deja Vu, Unstoppable, and
Taking
Taking.
Pelham.
Yeah.
Man on Fire is a little different.
A little different, but they still do it a
older.
lot.
Oh,
they
Man-
do a
Man
lot
on
of those
Fire is
quick
great.
cuts. It's
Yeah.
a
We love
phenomenal
Man on
movie.
Fire.
That's my
Love it.
favorite.
One of my favorite movies.
So yeah, that's mine.
I'll jump on yours because again, they tend to be a little related, even though we don't prepare them together. It's funny,
Yeah.
like they're always. So what I would say is on the
We
show,
hang out sometimes.
Yeah, we look for movies on the show that hit the middle category, and that's legitimately ridiculous. That's like the ultimate action movie category, where it's sort of like it's that level of ridiculous meets that level of awesome, and there's one really good performance in there. The Rock is the example we always use.
Right.
This movie,
Dwayne Johnson, you mean, right?
yeah, Dwayne Johnson. I would say that Tony Scott, the tone of this movie is more indicative of that intersection than any movie that I've ever watched. And this,
You mean his movies?
His movies, and this movie in particular. It is more indicative of that legitimately ridiculous tone. Like, he is the king of tone.
Yeah.
And, like, this movie does not specifically match what we do on the show because it's sort of missing some of the action. It doesn't really have the format of, like, a Die Hard or something like that.
Or the feel?
Yeah, but the way this movie feels when you're watching it, the kind of, like, heavy-handedness of the emotional, like, the interactions between those two characters, the way it looks, everything about it. It feels like an
action movie, yeah.
100%, and it's not. It's just two guys talking on the phone for the most part.
Yeah.
You guys went real murky. In the sense of, like, you said you wanted a one thing. You guys explained your thing. I'm just going to go in one statement here.
Do it.
This is the most forgotten, unforgettable movie ever made.
Oh, that's
Look at
great.
that.
Okay,
I like
I'll
that.
take it.
That's
I'm
very
gonna go back to murky. This
Classic
is,
Begley. Hold on.
This is the almost exact opposite of Speed, because
it's not moving.
Because Keanu is on the walkie instead of Dennis Hopper, and Dennis Hopper is on the bus/train. But in this case, it is not moving anywhere. It's just stagnant, and it's just talking the whole time. And there's no real like. In Speed, there's an escalation of, like, everything goes wrong that can go wrong.
Right.
This is just kind of like, I'm gonna shoot somebody else, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, you didn't do it. I'm gonna shoot somebody else, motherfucker. And then, like, don't shoot anybody else, okay? That's a pretty good Denzel.
No, you got to do the Travolta's motherfucker. His voice cracks every time he says it.
I'm gonna take this.
And then Luis Guzman just saying, I think today is the day I'm gonna die.
Yeah,
it's
right?
like, gee, I wonder if that's
You gotta
foreshadowing.
put your hands up here for Guzman, though. You gotta, like, tuck the belly.
It's
Yeah.
literally the opposite of Speed.
It is. That's very good.
It's like they took Speed and then said, let's do everything that movie did and flip it around.
Yeah.
Let's just flip it around.
I just feel like with this, I guess instead of getting so murky with my point, I guess my feeling is that this
I
is
didn't
not.
mean to insult you guys.
I'm leaving mine at murky.
Not
Okay.
at all.
He likes to come on people's show and just insult away.
Fuck you guys. Oh, sorry.
I guess my point was okay. Travolta swears enough. We can
Yeah,
swear. I guess my point was that it's like this is not a movie that really is our show, but it feels more like our show than most of the movies we've ever done on this show.
Yeah.
It just feels like it.
It has that intensity to it.
Yeah.
It's almost
Yeah.
like a David Mamet play, but with like
Right.
a lot of cuts and
Was it
Yeah.
the same
extreme
play that
angles.
he had to play the gay hairdresser with the
Yeah.
mustache? Is that same
It's a
play?
very good
Okay.
play.
Yeah.
It's called Fear and Loathing in a Basement.
Is that for real?
That's really the
Oh,
name.
wow.
Fear and
Well
Loathing in
done.
a Basement.
I don't know if you guys know, but Ben was also in a movie called Fear and Loathing in a Basement. It was on the Hallmark Channel. Right? To follow. Yeah.
How dare you?
So the next thing we do on the show here, guys, is a fist pump moment, and this is just something
Okay.
that if anybody's watching along with us and you guys want to get in on the action, this is like sort of that moment you're watching the movie and maybe you're by yourself, maybe you had a glass of scotch or something. Something happens,
Or
you look
7.
around and you're like, is anyone else seeing this right now? This is so awesome! I get to watch the rest of this movie. I'm so excited, and it could be anything. It could be a touching moment. It could be the score. It could be an explosion. It could be a one-liner. It could be a headshot. Anything.
Listen, I know, like I said, I'm going to go like a slightly different way of fist moment.
Yeah.
With the huge car crash, when we were all talking during the trailer, when you think it's going to explode, I was like, ah!
Is it like down for you?
Yeah, it's like I wanted the full fist pump. That's my fist pump / non-fist pump moment.
Fist pump moment for me was when the police corner the two bad guys in the end.
Yeah.
And you think it's just gonna be lame and they're gonna get arrested.
Right.
And
No.
after they let 100 cops show up, they go, fuck it, we're going out in a blaze of glory. And then it's the craziest amount of squibs I've ever
Oh, dude,
seen.
it's like Denzel at the
Where-
end of Training Day.
It's insane.
yeah.
It's just like blood's flying on here. There's a piece of the cab
Yeah.
flying off. I rewound it and laughed hysterically. My neighbors
Yeah.
probably thought I was insane.
Yeah.
I just moved there.
You
They
sound
already think
kind
I'm
of
insane.
insane.
I was just like,
While you're talking about it.
Well,
Give the
because
fist
They're
pump,
like
Ben. Give the
outside
fist pump.
watching you just
Fist
watch
bump!
these people die. You're just like,
Well, you know what? It's also because movies nowadays have CGI blood all over the
Yeah.
place, and it was crazy to see that much over excessive effective practical use of squibs again, which the 90s specifically and 80s were good about, but the 2000s didn't really do that.
Because those squibs are hurting people.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of things can go wrong with squibs. Yeah.
I'm gonna jump in with mine here
Insurance.
Go.
because the reason this movie is so special to me is because
It was me and my dad's face.
I saw it in theaters in 2009 as a thing I would do with my
You
buddy
went
every
to
week.
the theaters to watch this movie.
Because we would do this thing every week where we were like, we're going to see the worst movie with the highest expectations for
Oh, right,
entertainment.
right, yeah.
We did this for a whole year. And this was one of the ones we saw because of Travolta. You just
then you
have to
just
see
broke
it.
up.
Yeah, my old buddy from Seattle. So when I watched this movie again like a year or two ago, I was sort of struck by the scene where he admits to taking the bribe, because I was sort of having this moment
Yeah,
like,
it's a
this
great
is such
scene.
a...
It's the
this
best scene of the movie.
It's such a great scene in like a really heavy-handed kind of cheesy way,
Yeah.
but in
Yeah.
an awesome way. And I had that moment watching the movie by myself where I was like, I got it. And I called my buddy who I'd seen it with. I was like, do you remember this movie? It's so good. And so then when we did the show and we were talking about fist bump moment, I was like, that's kind of the ultimate one for me, because it's such a cheeseball emotional moment. It has
yeah.
nothing to do with a headshot. There's no explosions. It's not a great speech.
Yeah.
It's just something about it, and that's totally my fist bump moment.
Denzel is great at that stuff, though.
I took a bribe, you know.
Yeah,
It's
he's
like,
so
I
good.
used the
He's like-
money.
Yeah, even something like John Q. I'll never forget when he's like, "It's not goodbye, it's see you later," and that's such a
Right,
terrible
yeah.
line. But I remember in the theater like, "Oh, he will see you
Well,
later."
here's the thing: is the last
Denzel said it.
the last few Denzel movies, he's played this role over and over again of like the broken anti-hero hero.
Yeah.
Man on Fire.
Yeah.
Taking Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
You could argue the Equalizer-ish, you know.
Yeah.
Equalizer.
Totally.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Equalizer. Yeah, definitely.
Well, and then the great thing about that John Q part is that right after that happens, in fact, the line that Travolta gives him at the end, "You're my goddamn hero," doesn't the guy in that movie
I think
say
so,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, John, you my hero, man. That's how the movie ends, I'm pretty sure. It's the same.
Another one of those lines that's like that is when he's like, "Well, that's love, right?" He goes, "No, it's marriage. Love's a different thing."
Yeah.
That's a
It's just
good
like the
one.
way he says it. You're just like,
So good.
"That's a good line."
Yeah.
I like
Denzel
that.
can deliver anything.
Anything.
Yes.
Even when he asks to take off his
panache.
coat.
And
he's like,
pizza.
He's like, "Can I take off my
I get my
jacket?"
coat, please? Yeah. Being accused of something and being guilty of something are two entirely different
very
things.
different
Yeah.
things.
God, I love this movie.
So good.
My fist pump moment is the very beginning when Travolta's just like standing by the train.
Yeah.
So he turns, he goes, "I'll open the door right now or I'll fucking kill you."
Yeah.
Like that.
Do it. Do it. He goes, "Open the door.
I lost
Do
it.
it now or I'll fucking kill you."
Yeah.
He's so good.
Wait, was there a point in Travolta's career where he just started high pitching everything, or was it from the beginning? I want to know.
I think it started with
the of Face Off.
No,
maybe.
I think it started with
Fiction?
Grease when Sandy showed up and he was like, "Sandy!"
Yeah.
Like that.
It's from the beginning then.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's from the
because
Because the one
beginning.
that always comes to mind is where he's talking about he's trying to buy the heroin in Pulp Fiction.
Oh,
Probably
yeah.
a fucking grease spot.
Yeah.
Like, that's when he says it like that.
Yeah.
It's just him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the new thing. Nobody's really gone into the amount of Travolta high pitches.
His
Like,
falsetto.
if we do Stallone yells on Guilty Movie
We gotta
Posters,
get a
whenever
montage of Travolta.
Travolta
still,
high pitches.
falsetto.
We just need to like we need to have a new segment on the show. Like, what about this movie is fucking awesome?
Yeah, right?
Anything we do on the show.
How many
Go to our
Travolta high
Travolta
pitches do you give
moment
this
now.
movie?
Yeah.
No, it's funny what you were saying about the kind of character he was playing, and we actually pulled this when we were reviewing Man on Fire. But Betsy Sharkey of the LA Times wrote that Denzel Washington, who starred
Oh,
in
yeah,
Crimson
this is
Tide,
great.
Man on Fire, Deja Vu, Taking, and Unstoppable, was Scott's muse. And Scott was at his best when Denzel Washington was in the picture. The characters the actor played are the archetype of the kind of men Scott made at their core, and what guided all the actions that followed was a fundamental decency. They were flawed men, to be sure, some more than others, but men who accorded dignity to anyone who deserved it. And that's like...
It's literally all these characters.
They're all
Yeah.
the same character.
Yeah.
My sister used to, when I was younger, and she would describe sort of like the Denzel character. She called him the noble savage.
Ah.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
That's like the ultimate Denzel character. And like Tony Scott used his. I think that Tony Scott uses the cliched Denzelisms sort of better than any director. Like he just,
Yeah.
they're all characters are the same, but they're all sort of awesome in that way.
Yeah.
So
Well,
anyway,
this is like a relatable, like lovable quality. Like people can relate. Like I could do that. I could be an alcoholic and save this plane. You know.
Right.
And then they give him the whole, I did take the bribe, but I was gonna choose them anyway.
Right,
So
yeah, he's still a
way,
good guy.
Yeah, the audience, and then it's for his kid's tuition, and you're like,
use the money to my
right,
daughters
okay,
to pay
okay.
for the tuition. I have a 17-year-old and a 19-year-old daughter. I use the money. It's like you're just like, oh, Denzel.
You're such a good guy.
and the
so
pause
good.
and
His reaction when he shoots Travolta in the end too is heartbreaking.
Oh
Just
yeah,
like,
he's like,
and then the freeze frame of him smiling while he's walking in his gate is a terrible way to end.
with his milk, with the half
Where he's
gallon.
like, I got the
He's
milk,
like-
and you hear a
'cause you
dog
can't
bark.
get a gallon.
You hear a dog bark, and it's
do
like,
it.
Mrr, and I just imagine like a text to come up and be like, Walter blah blah blah. He ended up giving the milk to his wife that night, and it's like it just was such a weird way to end such a high voltage movie.
Yeah.
What it only would have made it better is if they freeze framed it and it was like, "The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, And they just had a sick ass theme song.
You get that explosion in there. Yeah.
Thinking like Europe to do the theme song or something. Taking of Pelham.
That was my favorite thing about 80s and 90s action movies, how all of them had a theme song with the title.
Yeah.
Of the
Oh,
movie
yeah.
in it.
That was the quality that's been missed.
I don't think
because
Commando
Monster
has one.
Squad
Yeah,
Yeah.
Monster
had
Squad.
its own song.
Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill you. Don't ever bring up that movie again.
So let's jump into where these guys were sort of in their careers, because it's actually sort of an interesting point. If you think about Travolta and Denzel as similar in age and had similar like sort of career arcs where they really were peaking in like huge movies in the 90s. I mean, Travolta obviously had the earlier success, but then he was reborn in Pulp Fiction, then he had all those movies he did in the 90s.
Phenomenon.
And Michael.
Yeah.
Primal
Fear.
Colors? Primary Colors.
Primary colors.
I like Primal Colors, though, better.
Primal Colors.
Primal Colors.
It's basic colors for dinosaurs.
It's the color purple mixed with primal fear.
He was, in that
Primal
movie,
Colors.
he was in that movie Prime Numbers, wasn't he?
Yeah. 1, 3, 7. That's how the song went.
So,
Big deal.
so Denzel, prior to this movie, right, his 3 previous credits: The Great Debaters 07, American Gangster 07, Deja Vu 06.
Which one was Deja Vu?
That's the other
the
Tony
other
Scott one that
one.
looks and feels identical to this
time
movie.
I've never seen
It's
it.
even got the same colors.
Oh,
Yeah.
that one. Yes,
I never saw it. It's actually not that bad.
It's not terrible.
American
I love
Gangster
all
was
of them.
solid.
I liked American
American
Gangster.
Gangster was
Don't like
decent.
American
Yeah.
You don't?
I didn't
Not
love
a
it. I
fan.
liked it.
Not a fan.
Oh,
He's
man.
so good in that movie. That's one of his
Frank
best
Lucas.
performances.
Really? Yeah.
It's just that movie is just like it's trying too hard to show me a story I've seen like 100 times. Like we've seen the like criminal
Dracula.
rise to like the rise and fall story. I've seen it so many times.
It was really popular then.
Russell
around that
Crowe's
time.
really
I just
lazy
think-
in that movie.
did
I just
Public
think
Enemies around
Denzel in
that
that
too.
is so solid.
He's good. I mean, Denzel's good in like
He
everything.
burns that chinchilla coat.
Yeah, he's better in this movie than he is in that. Just saying.
Don't know about that one.
Man,
Are you fucking kidding me?
Bateman is gonna on Bateman's gravestone. There's just gonna be Taking of Pelham. 1, 2,
Yeah, right.
3.
Nothing else.
Nothing
Not
else.
even when he was born or
If you
anything.
you
He was
either
a good
know
father,
it
a
or
good
you
brother,
don't.
and he loved taking the Pelham 1, 2, 3.
So
Now leave me some fucking flowers.
Yeah. so
It never gets old.
So Deja Vu's good, by the way. Anybody who hasn't watched Deja Vu is actually
It's serviceable.
it's way more of an action movie than this.
Absolutely.
Like Deja Vu's, if we were going to choose one of them other than Man on Fire of the 5 they did, actually Crimson Tide fits too. But
Crimson Tide.
Yeah.
a good one.
we love
Absolutely.
Crimson Tide. I never saw Great Debaters, American Gangster. I mean, it's not bad.
What was the Great Debaters? Was that
That's
like
the Forrest
Dangerous
Whitaker.
Minds? Oh yeah.
He was a speech coach.
Yeah.
something
Debate
like that.
coach.
And then it's
Sounds awesome.
because like
Yeah.
right before this, before Man on Fire was 03 and Manchurian Candidate I want to say was like 05.
I never saw that one.
That's a good one.
There was just that stretch of Denzel where he was out of time. It's right around that same time.
The
he was
Siege.
sort of
when
like
was
the-
the Siege? That was
that's sort of like the-
mid-90s, right?
I love the
That's
Siege.
98, I
Yeah.
think.
But that's sort of
Oh,
like the
I loved
Liam Neeson arc, right?
Yeah.
So like Denzel was doing a lot of those dramas and like trying to get his Academy Award.
Yeah.
And then he got into the action drama and everybody's like, oh shit, he's good with a gun. He looks amazing.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Dakota Fanning kind of made his career and like in those movies, in the Tony Scott movies, I was like, oh, we can just do Man on Fire 5 more times? Let's
Yeah.
make money.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, Deja Vu and this was sort of the same way. And then Unstoppable. Is Unstoppable or not
Yeah.
Unstoppable, right? Is the
yeah.
train one?
Yeah, it's like this movie and Unstoppable. Like,
Nonstop is the Liam Neeson one.
I mix
the
up
plate.
this and Unstoppable so often that like I tweeted earlier this week, like Unstoppable and Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 are like identical twins separated
Yeah.
at birth, both like not sure what they're missing, but some vital element that doesn't make them actually good.
Yeah.
And it's like they're the
Yeah.
same movie. I couldn't remember if Rosario Dawson was in this or the other one. I was like pretty sure she was in this one.
Yeah.
Is she in Deja? No, it's a different
No.
chick.
No, it's
Yeah,
a different
yeah,
chick.
She's Rosario Dawson's is in the Danny Boyle one that's just like Deja Vu, sort of.
Trance?
Yeah.
Trance.
I didn't see that.
And
Is that
that's
just like
Paula Patton that's in.
Yeah,
it.
Paula Patton was a
Yeah.
fan
Paula
of
Patton
her.
was-
See, I like
Okay.
Unstoppable.
Very attractive young lady.
I like Unstoppable because it takes place in Pennsylvania, so it's got like a little special place in my heart. Because
I
I've been
can't
like,
Right.
get into that movie.
I
can't have a
enjoyed
movie-
it, but I never need to see it ever again.
I love Unstoppable.
I can't have an action movie without a bad
I'm
guy.
with you on that.
I just can't. The bad guy's a train, really.
What's
It's a
Chris
train.
Pine's line when he's like, "Well, I didn't realize I was going to start working in a nursing home." Denzel, okay, all right, okay, all right then. So let's talk Travolta. So
Yeah, he was
Travolta-
doing some great things right then.
Oh, yeah.
and this is
String
interesting.
of-
Wild Hogs.
And we mentioned it in here. So he actually lost his son a few years before this. I want to say
It was actually very close to when he was filming this. He was
Wait,
still
his
grieving.
son died or just was
yes.
In the
Son
disappointed in
died.
his dad's choice?
No,
Josh.
no, too soon.
Sorry, John. I didn't know he was going to say it on the show. I'll be honest.
I'll apologize.
The people on Action Movie Anatomy do not support or endorse Josh Macuga.
Could you bleep that out, Jonathan? Could we edit that? Do we have a 20-second delay on this show?
Well, it's the Pixar movie, right?
Yeah, it's
where
the
he's
dog.
He's the voice.
And then Hairspray, which was a huge success, and I think he's dressed up as a woman, right?
Played
Yeah.
the
Woman.
And then Wild Hogs, which is a real
A
gem.
huge success.
Real gem. Martin Lawrence is in that movie with him,
Martin
I want
Lawrence,
to say.
William H. Macy, and Tim Allen.
Tim Allen.
And they all like drive motorcycles?
Correct.
Let me just
They
say,
have a midlife crisis and they're all motorcycle
just
in a
for the
gang.
record,
You've seen this movie.
You like this movie, don't you?
Wow. In Josh,
the best part is
in
I
Josh's
love
defense. In Josh's defense, every parent of every friend of mine loves that movie.
Of course they do.
My in-laws love it. My parents love it. I've bought it for several Christmas gifts for anyone over the age of 50.
You've bought Wild Hogs
and
more
not
than
I've
once.
used for like buy one get one free.
I think, Ben, this
when I
is
get
your heart
myself
out,
one.
right? Is this when you have to leave? Is this after you said you bought Wild
For
Hogs?
other
gotta
people,
go.
not for myself. For Christmas gifts for my parents. They think it's hilarious. He is terrible in Wild Hogs.
Yeah,
by the
it's
way.
Oh, I'm sure he is.
Travolta's
Yeah, no
awful.
more talking about Wild Hogs.
Yeah, we're done.
Ben's.
We're back to my favorite movie, The Taking of Pelham.
1, 2, 3. Macuga's Grave, Wild Hogs. Wild Hogs is fucking awesome.
Begley's is like, it was never for me.
I bought it for my fucking grandmother.
It was my fucking parents.
So yeah, I think it's interesting. Like both of these guys were sort of like transitioning from legitimate like A-list. If I'm in a movie, it's a big deal. To
Right.
like, I think we all saw Travolta when this movie came out in the trailer, and we're like, what the hell is
Yeah,
going
it
on?
was this, and then he did the From Paris with Love, and you were just like,
And he was he looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
From
The
Paris with
skull
Love
cap
is
and the
terrible.
so bad.
Those are
really
bad
weird.
He's got a rocket launcher.
And neither of them like has entirely. I guess Denzel's recovered more. 'Cause
Yeah.
Flight.
He's Denzel.
And yeah,
he's actually a good actor.
Yeah.
Travolta's not actually a very good
Well,
actor.
I
He has his
think
moments.
Are you Travolta? He's amazing.
well, Travolta went and did that like fucking haircut that was just like a pen.
Yeah.
Widow's
Oh.
peak. Like just shave it, Travolta. It's gone. It's fine. It's
Like
not a big
whoever
deal.
designed the bad guy in this movie was the worst ever.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I don't buy that he's a stock market guy when he has
No.
all these tattoos.
yeah, like
then-
who goes to jail for like stock fraud or whatever and then gets a tattoo on their neck?
But can we all agree though? That
Eric
like,
Anthony that I went to high school with. I don't know.
can we all agree that so Denzel's really good in this? We all agree
Of
there,
course,
right?
yeah.
yes.
And the fact that Travolta's so over the top in this movie is almost what makes it sort of enjoyably bad. It's like if he was good, if he was better in this movie, the movie
Yeah.
might just be dramatic and like less memorable.
Right.
But it's sort of more memorable because it's such a ridiculous
And
movie.
he totally grows on you by the end of
Oh,
it.
yeah.
By the end of it, you're
Like
in.
his mustache.
Well, and you know what's something we were talking about when we were watching it that is I think they made an interesting character choice is that he's trying to be really cool and really hard the whole time,
Yeah.
but he's kind of a dork, and it's like
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
the sense that all his henchmen all feel that way too. He's not actually cool.
Yeah,
No.
because he was a financial guy. He
Yeah.
like came out of business school and he's like, I'm gonna make my millions in the finance business.
Yeah.
And he alludes to the fact that he has lots.
No, no.
What you're
We've established that Macuga's terrible at impression.
This is every time I try to do like a nerd thing, I go to like a Kermit the Frog and it just like goes that
It's what he
route.
thinks of me. Anytime he's like,
Stupid.
I'm Ben Begley.
Oh, look at me, I'm Ben Begley. I did a Hallmark movie. Ooh.
Can you give me a Russell Crowe?
Yeah, I was gonna do that. I was gonna say you gotta do the gladiator speech.
I'm Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the north.
I don't know it as well as you, but like I rub some dirt in my hands and kill a guy with a little sword.
And when I find my kid and wife, I snot a lot when I cry. I'll never forget that.
Tangent, guys,
so
tangent.
much
We got a
That's
lot
our
of
whole
shows
show
still
is
to
a
come.
tangent.
We do
Yours
got a
not.
lot to do.
So
I forget
don't
they have
think-
structure to their show.
Yes.
I don't think we'll focus too much on it, but we should talk a little bit of production development. So,
Very, very little.
Yeah, this is based on originally a novel that was written by John Godey back in like '58, maybe.
It's
Is that what it
pronounced
was?
Godet.
Godey, and he went by it was
Jean Godet.
Morton Freedgood was his real name. Freedgood, and he was like a crime novelist that wrote a bunch of books in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Weirdly enough, if you put all these numbers or all these letters and rearrange them, it comes out with Morgan Freeman.
It does.
I'm not going to fall victim to trying to figure this out because it's not right. It's definitely not true. So this was made originally in '74, the adaptation, right, which is like a classic. Tarantino referenced this as like one of his big inspirations.
The original is a fantastic movie.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a much better movie than this.
I
Never
disagree.
seen
I don't know
Disagree.
about that.
It's a different type of movie.
good.
I've
Yeah.
never seen it.
I think most people feel that the original is much better. Mr. Blue is a character in the original,
Yeah.
so that's like Reservoir Dogs. He pulled that, and there's like a bunch of bits and pieces that that people reference with the original movie. Then it was remade again in '98 as a TV movie, and then finally made again now. And actually, the ransom had changed each time because of inflation. It was $1 million in '74,
Oh, right.
$5 million
Yeah.
in '98, and then $10 million by the time this one was made.
And
Nice.
1 cent.
And 1 cent.
Yeah.
Because
Keep
he's
that.
a-
That's your broker fee.
because he's a finance guy.
yeah,
It's for you.
I could watch this movie every day. I could watch it. I'm going to watch it again.
What's wrong with you? You have serious issues.
Every day?
Are you gonna call your buddy every time you watch
right
it too?
now, yeah.
Remember when we were in Seattle?
Hey Jake, I just miss you. I keep watching this movie so I can talk to you.
I can watch Face Off every day, but
Yes.
I couldn't watch.
I love Face
this
Off.
every
Yes.
day.
So Brian Helgeland wrote
Yeah,
this movie.
he's a badass.
Helgeland's like a total
Yeah.
badass. He's getting in the limelight again now because Legend, that new Tom Hardy movie that's coming out,
Yeah.
he wrote and
Oh,
directed
yeah.
that, where it's like twins and some sort of gangster thing. He also wrote L.A. Confidential, Mystic River, and then it's even funnier if you go back to the beginning of his career when he got involved with Black, what's his name, the producer, Todd
Lan-
Black.
Oh yeah, Todd Blackisms.
Todd Blackisms.
Yeah, he Shane Blackisms.
Shane Blackisms
Yeah.
is what I was thinking of.
Yeah, Todd Black worked actually on A Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger, which
Love that movie.
Very underrated movie.
It's actually a very good movie.
Like that movie.
Helgeland wrote and directed it. A Knight's
Really
Tale.
liked it.
Yeah, way back in the day. So he sort of has now come back around. But he's been
Yeah.
writing for years. He wrote Man on Fire.
So the guy that wrote Man on Fire and
L.A.
Mystic River
Confidential.
wrote this movie.
Yeah.
That's
And
too bad.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man, you are crushing Bateman's dreams with this. He loves this movie.
We did agree though that like it's funny because the color and the tone of this movie is like so specific, right? It feels like a stylized Michael Bay movie. That's like the difference.
Sure.
Tony
Yeah.
Scott and Michael Bay, they're very similar in that way. Everything's incredibly well lit, but this movie just has
Can
more
you believe
style.
if they co-directed a movie, the amount of ADD-isms that would be going on?
Oh,
I wish it would have
crazy.
happened before we
I
lost
would
Tony
just have a
Scott.
seizure
Yeah.
halfway through. It'd just be like,
Yeah.
But what's interesting about it is like the script here is more intelligent than the movie appears to be. Like,
Absolutely.
That's like stuff we were talking about, that one line when he says,
Well, there's
that's
a lot
marriage.
of really good lines, that, like really well-written lines and just
They're just
situations
poorly
in this
delivered
movie
by
that are
Travolta?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or you could imagine if you were reading the script before it was like you get to a line like that and like the writer would be like, oh, that's a really good line. I like that. And it's just funny, you sort of lose some of that personality because the movie is so sort of homogenized Hollywood, like the big $100 million
I'll
action.
go back to that frame rate stuff. It drives me nuts. I
Yeah.
thought it was just going to be the opening credits,
No.
and then I don't know what that is. It's this blurry, half slow motion, half out of focus.
Yeah.
Half. Oh shit! They had one broken camera the entire film shoot. Is
Right,
what it
they
looks
just
like, and
used
then
it.
like, because especially when the train's going to go off the rails, and then they slow it down. It just, to me, it cuts out the intensity of it when
Yeah.
it's like. It looks like the DP was on Quaaludes during those moments. You know?
Yeah, well, I mean, Tony Scott just
is so
as
weird.
you sort of wonder, like, you know, obviously Tony Scott, the late Tony Scott, now if he was still around, like what his movies would look like now, because he was going so far in this direction. All his late movies looked and felt the same. I sort of wonder, like he was working on a Warriors remake. They were talking about
Top Gun remake. I mean, 2, excuse
Top Gun
me.
2 he's going to direct. So I sort of wonder what like his later stuff looked like. But anybody who's like unfamiliar with Tony Scott, we can kind of just cover that really quickly. He's the younger brother of Ridley Scott. Got his start in the 80s, directed Top Gun, which is his highest grossing movie of all time. Beverly Hills Cop 2, True Romance.
True Romance is so good.
Yeah, it's a great
True
movie.
Romance is the one movie that he's directed that really feels nothing like a Tony
Yeah,
Scott movie.
exactly.
But it's because it's a Tarantino script.
yeah,
So
right.
it's like sort of half Tarantino-ish.
You can't really take a Tarantino script and turn it into a Tony Scott movie.
No.
Very difficult.
And a lot of those actors, he's worked with a lot of the same guys over the years. Gandolfini obviously was in that movie. Gandolfini's also in Crimson Tide.
I love Gandalf.
Love Gandolfini. Miss the guy. So yeah, Tony Scott, got his start as I want to say that he got his start working in commercials with his brother. Is that right?
Yeah.
Something like that. And then we read that whole thing about the way he used Denzel. That was very much sort of the man he appeared to be. And then jumped off a bridge a few years ago.
Yeah.
I was, you know,
2012.
as much as I'm, making fun of the frame rate, I actually really enjoyed almost every Tony Scott movie I've ever
absolutely.
seen.
They're great movies.
He was really good at
I love Beverly
cranking
Hills
up
Cop too.
tension, and his movies have a pace to them that I really enjoy. I just didn't like some of the weird visual choices. It was like a cross between almost like a Michael Bay and an Oliver Stone when Oliver Stone started just throwing in like Any Given Sunday when it's like random cutaways.
Yeah,
and
that
you're
was
like, what the
weird
fuck
one
is
for him to
happening
do.
here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
I
mean-
respect him as a filmmaker, just so people on the message boards don't, go nuts on me.
Well, I was going to say that the one thing that I think we've done, this is episode 26 of the show now, that he's the director that I've learned to appreciate more than any other on this show.
Absolutely.
And it's because I think I had this sense of all those 5 Denzel movies that he did as they were all these sort of like, those movies kind of suck. They're not very good. And then each one when I watched again,
Man
I
on
was like,
Fire was the one. Like,
Yeah.
you go and watch that again, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This is a great movie.
you're just
The bomb
really
in the butt, come on,
engaged.
that's
yeah,
hilarious.
very
Oh my
good.
God.
These
Very
movies
good.
are
So
extremely
badass.
engaging, and in the same way we've talked before about how like a Tom Cruise movie has this sort of like glossy feel. Everything about it feels like it's put together. There's no holes, at least visually. His movies have that same feel, where it's all well lit. The color is extremely consistent.
I think there's something to be said about Tony Scott simply because he did take risks.
Yeah.
And he didn't just make it, and he made it his own.
Yeah.
And maybe it did a little bit distract from some things, and people didn't per se like some things. But as a director, his style drives a movie, and in movies a lot like you were talking about, that really helps the movie.
Yeah.
In a movie that may normally not be as well, because Tony Scott's directing style really did it and didn't do it a disservice. It really just moved it along really, really well.
Yeah, I mean, if this movie was filmed, shot, and like the tone wasn't right, it would have
Yeah.
been a very, very bad movie.
Yeah.
And like you were saying with his pacing, he has a great pacing in all of his movies.
And
you never
lightning
are,
speed.
Yeah, it's very quick, but you're able to digest everything.
Here's the difference between Michael Bay and Tony Scott. I'm never bored during a Tony Scott movie. I can get bored very quickly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Completely
Transformers, it's like 30 minutes for them to get across the desert in the second movie, and I remember just being like, what? Oh, there's still
where are
explosions.
the robots? Yeah.
Yeah, 2 through 4 are just bad movies. But no, and the other thing that's really interesting is when you think about like the iconic actors of our time and each of the most important ones, and maybe before us, like the way that Scorsese used De Niro. It's like they're memorable. Like these actors are memorable because of the work that certain directors get out of them on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
And even though these movies that he did with Tony Scott aren't considered classics by any means, Man on Fire is kind of a cult classic.
Yeah.
Crimson Tide's kind of like an action classic. These
I
are
don't know
the
if
three.
you would call Man on Fire a cult classic. I mean, that's a classic movie.
People like that movie, but
Yeah.
it's not like a great movie by people's standard. It would be a top.
I think when
50,
people,
like,
we've talked about this, when people watch that movie,
They love it,
It's
yeah.
a great movie.
So I think the fact that he
forgotten,
established
like
the
this
sense
movie.
we have of Denzel,
Yeah.
it's like we all have this consistent sense of his ability because he's good in every one of those movies.
There's
He's
not a
the
single,
best part.
I
of
just
all
looked
of
at his IMDb and I'm like, yep, good. There's not a single movie I've ever seen him in. Even The Book of Eli, I thought he was badass.
Right,
And it's
totally.
Like, there's like nothing I've seen him in where he's remotely bad or not amazing to watch.
I used to do a sports show for Black Hollywood Live here in the same studio, and we would ask every athlete we interviewed. We'd like a speed round at the end,
Yeah.
and every time it would be in the story of your life, who would play you,
Denzel.
and 9 out of 10 times it was Denzel Washington.
Denzel.
Almost
Denzel.
every single
Right.
one of them. You know,
Of
Of course.
yeah. Which like T.O. said it, like
Yeah.
like everyone. It's just like the same answer. Everybody's just like, it's Denzel Washington. He's the best.
Yeah, who else would it
It's gonna be
be?
a movie about me. I want Denzel Washington. to play me,
Jamie
so-
Foxx?
Yeah, I think we heard that from one person.
That's too bad.
Malcolm Jamal Warner.
We won't really talk much about the producers here, but it's a production company called Escape Artists. It was originally 2 different companies: Todd Black, Steve Tisch, Jason Blumenthal. They're the main guys, as well as Tony Scott was a producer on this. There's 12 credited producers. Interestingly enough, usually when you have that many and you go and you start to look, there's like half of them that have a bunch of credits that are all related, and then the other half that have like worked production assistants on 1 or 2 things.
Right.
Every one of the 12 guys that's listed has a pretty good, like a pretty solid resume. Like I didn't find a single person where I was like, well, I can just write this guy off. But when you go and you look at like the production company, it's these 3 guys that own Escape Artists, and so.
When I lived in New York, I worked at an Italian restaurant, and Denzel and Steve Tisch came in every Thursday for lunch.
Really?
Really?
Interesting.
Is he a cool
Every
guy?
Thursday. Oh, the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Seems
best.
like you would be.
Yeah. Todd Black originally worked with Denzel on Antoine Fisher, which was obviously Denzel Washington starred in that and directed it. It was his directorial debut.
I like that movie.
It was a good movie.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I haven't seen it in a while.
Pursuit of Happiness, Southpaw, and then Blumenthal also worked on like Forrest Gump, American History X. So
You're glossing over Dunstan Chuck's
or Tisch. I'm sorry, Tisch worked on those movies. But yeah, Dunstan checks in.
Dunstan checks in.
first,
That's really strange to go from Dunstan checks in to American History. Oh no, I'm sorry. Tisch did American History X.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
that was 2 very tonally different films.
Dunstan checks in. Dunstan checks in is the one with the monkey. Is that right?
Yeah, and Jason Alexander.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that movie.
Classic.
And
I just
American
want to comment here real quick. No, not all athletes are black. Ben was on Black Hollywood Live, where they had black athletes on the show.
Did someone
was
actually
for-
ask
it was
Someone
that?
was very upset. Or they seemed pretty upset. Like, oh,
No.
all athletes are black? No.
It was a network called Black Hollywood
Black
Live.
Hollywood Live,
which
and
I worked
every
on.
athlete
I
that
was
you
gonna make
had
it-
on the show, Black Hollywood Live, was a black
Was a
man.
black guy.
Not actually true. We actually have had
A black athlete?
Half of the people I think we had on the show. Anyway,
all of
that-
the-
Anyway, yeah,
I don't even know where
we're
we're
not,
coming
we're
on
not
this.
trying to, yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, let's
People
move on
love
to.
to get angry.
Yes, they do. Critically, this movie is very interesting.
Yeah, consistently across the board on RottenTomatoes.com, 51, 52, and 51%, which is rare. Like Man on Fire was one of the strange ones where the critics gave it like a 37%,
Right, and the
the
audience
fans
does.
had like 85 or
Yeah.
something.
I really, like, I know we've been talking about Man on Fire a lot this episode, but I just don't understand how you do that. How do you give that movie a 30%?
Yeah, it does make any sense.
Critics are assholes.
And you give this a 50? You give this movie a 50%?
Maybe
Look
they
at
didn't
some of the
understand
movies
what
they get
they
like
were watching.
93% where you watch
Right.
and you're like,
Kill me.
what the
Kill me
fu-
now.
what? Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want to mention anything.
That's the thing is like, Rotten Tomatoes, and Gray is a very good friend of mine, so is Matt. and all of the critics that go and do it, even schmoes and stuff. A lot of times fans see movies way differently than critics do. And by all means, critics, go ahead and do your thing, Leonard Maltin. I don't care.
Right.
I'm going to love Man on Fire. I'm going to love these movies, and I will defend them.
Right.
I don't care about a score, but in these kind of situations, it is fun to talk about because it's like, F you.
By the way, my friends that are critics are not assholes. No, there's a difference.
Love you, James.
No, there is a difference between people like Schmoes and Gray and people like that who have. I feel like the problem I have with a lot of critics is when you can't go into a movie and accept it for what it's supposed to be.
Oh, that's
You're putting it up to standards. Like you can't do Steve Jobs and The Last Witch Hunter, which I'm sure is not going to be good. But that's a
speak too soon.
terrible example. But you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
So that's where I think critics have started to kind of come around to that when like Furious 7 gets like an 80%. People are starting to accept things for what it is. But that's why I think schmoes and critics like that when they go in with like, kind of like an everyman's perspective on movies instead of this uppity like, well, it
Film
doesn't
critic
follow
journalism.
this thing.
I mean, the other thing is like with these movies, we always
Where's
pick
the save
two.
the cat moment?
We pick two reviews usually. We always do a fresh and a rotten review, and almost every single time with the rotten ones, it feels like the critic just completely missed the point of the movie.
Yeah,
That's
so
what frustrates
yeah.
me. That's when I feel like they're just being jerks.
Yeah.
100%. So the movie cost $100 million to make, which is a little surprising to be honest. I guess a lot of the money is probably spent
Considering what Looper
Permits
cost,
in New
didn't
York.
Looper cost 40? Was that what it was?
Yeah.
This movie cost $60 million more.
Here's where it's going to make it.
Travolta and Denzel's
Shut down the
salaries.
Manhattan Bridge.
Yeah.
Everything in New York is twice as expensive as in any
Yeah,
other city.
true.
You don't get the tax breaks back. You're shooting on subways inside. You're shooting on subway tracks. You have to close all those things down. You have to close down Manhattan Bridge. You have to do huge things in order to make this movie work. That's where all the money went.
Yeah, and I guess probably just the unnecessary action sequences.
Yes.
Of
Like
car
the cars
chases and
exploding
cars
or
exploding,
not exploding.
Yeah.
And the big gun battle thing you mentioned at the end. There's a bunch
Through
of
the
unnecessary
Waldorf,
money.
on Madison Avenue.
Yeah. So
Best moment of the
this movie's a flop, pretty much. I mean, it only made 65 domestically, and it cost $100 million to make. I mean, worldwide, it ended up bringing in 150. So they made 1.5, but that's still pretty bad.
That's not very
all
good.
things considered.
I mean,
Considering
you hear,
Denzel.
Yeah, you hear Denzel, Tony Scott, and John Travolta, you think it's going to make some money.
Yeah.
yeah, I believe Unstoppable made a little more money, but not by a whole lot. It's actually funny here. We have it opened $23 million behind The Hangover and Up, and neither of those was opening. They were both
Right,
still
they've
in
been
theaters
there.
from previous
Yeah.
weeks. So this movie just
I mean,
didn't do well.
that's tough competition.
I
know.
I might be overstepping my bounds here, but I feel like a lot of the reason that people didn't go to see the movie is because they saw the whole movie in the trailer.
Yeah, that was a very bad trailer.
And also the fact that Travolta is like ridiculous looking. Like we,
Right.
we like I said, the
I
only
think it was
reason we
fatigued by him
saw
at that point, yeah.
the only reason we saw it was because we were like, this movie looks ridiculous. So let's
Yeah.
go have a laugh. On either sides of it, we saw like 88 minutes on Righteous Kill.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
you know what I mean? That's the kind of movie we were
God.
seeing in theaters.
Oh.
Bad movies. Like,
Righteous Kill was abysmal.
It's a good drop.
yeah.
Good name drop.
Those are bad movies. So we
Bad
pulled
movies,
a
good
graphic
name.
here of Tony Scott's adjusted for ticket price inflation because he's obviously directed movies for a long time. His top 11 because Taking of Pelham is the 11th highest grossing.
Right, you got it.
Good insertion. That's a Ben Batemanism right
Yeah,
there.
right there. So we had every one of the movies he did with Denzel is on this list.
Yep.
And you can see in order almost that they just made less and less money. Crimson Tide made a huge amount of money back in '95. Right, Man on Fire, second most. Unstoppable, Deja Vu, and Pelham are the last three, which you would. I mean,
It makes sense. for
Unstoppable
those.
just made a little bit more money, but that's also because it
Chris
was
Pine.
and it was Star Trek.
And it was,
You did-
yes, exactly.
So that it just come out. So they got, but not by much. I mean, it still only made $84 million, and I'm sure that movie cost quite a bit of money to make.
Yeah.
It had a train.
A moving train the entire time.
Andrew's whole theory is that you can't have a good action movie without a good action movie villain. So when the villain's a train, it doesn't work.
I hate that movie.
Unstoppable is speed on a train without Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, right.
And without people on
Without-
the train.
yeah,
And
It's just
without
a-
a Sandra Bullock and without hostages.
If you had just put,
So it's not speed.
if you had just put Travolta,
Just put one guy on the train.
train.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to kill myself and everybody else. Motherfucker.
Stop this fucking train!
open the door to it right now, or I'll fucking kill you. All right,
Our audience is just like, what is wrong with these guys?
So we should keep moving through here because we have those. We pulled a couple reviews. You know, like we mentioned, we usually pull a fresh and a rotten. So the fresh one we pulled is Andrea Chase from Killer Movie Reviews, and she says when logic subsides, as alas it does, is the sheer force of Washington's intensity and Travolta's elan. What is that? That keeps the film on.
That's my French name.
Track.
He has a certain, you know.
Yeah. And it's funny because she's essentially suggesting that like the relationship between these two people and their intensity and the entertainment value is the only thing that makes this movie
I
good.
love that that's not even really a great review.
No,
it's
which is
not.
why I pulled it, because it's like sort of acknowledging like this movie's not great,
It's a
but
very backhanded compliment. Like,
it's kind of like what we're all saying though, which
Yeah,
is like,
yeah.
and obviously I'm a little more passionate
She's
about this
okay,
movie,
look,
but
Just a little bit. Yeah, exactly.
that's how Run All Night was. It's like, yeah, they were cool, but the movie, you know.
And then the rotten
Yeah.
one you got here, a professionally mounted genre exercise which tries to please both thriller and social drama crowds and suffers mightily as a result.
yeah, one of the other ones that I read was like, you can't make the original Taking of Pelham better by adding like more cursing and cranking up the volume,
Yes.
and adding like a Jay-Z song and like make it like really New York, like that's like
Yeah.
what the whole like.
I'm John Turturro. This is how I talk all the time.
Yeah, it's
Jesus.
like he just like
Every
really
day.
wanted it. I can picture like Tony Scott being like, I want to remake Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. I want it to be really intense and gritty and in New York. $100 million. Let's do this thing.
Give me this money or I'll fucking kill you.
You a Yankees fan?
Yeah, that's another. That's line for the whole movie.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
yes.
yes,
I mean,
yes.
yes. Okay. Yeah. So anyway,
shit.
I don't think it really isn't like. Yeah, is your heart out?
I gotta go.
You gotta go. It's cool.
Right now-ish.
We're getting into the
Get
whole
outta
like.
here.
Damn it, I had my favorite line, too.
Do it. Let's
You
do
want
it.
to share?
Just drop it real
Have we
quick.
already said it like 17 times? on the show?
No. Here, wait. I wrote it down because it was so ridiculous.
Please tell me
My-
it's the he makes it work line.
No, my favorite line is when John Travolta says, "Lick my bunghole, motherfucker."
Oh yeah, lick my
I couldn't
bunghole.
believe he said, "Lick my bunghole, motherfucker." And then he says, another line I like. Sorry, I had two.
No.
Was, man, he's got a sexy voice. He'd be my bitch in prison. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this.
Yeah,
is
like
good.
you really
I'm
you.
like, wait a minute.
The
I
Wall
think
Street
you
guy?
would be Denzel's bitch in prison,
absolutely.
Travolta.
Denzel was like, I don't know if he actually gained weight or if they just put him in a giant shirt to make him look
Denzel,
overweight.
I
Just
think
look
it's a huge
more
shirt.
Waltery. Yeah.
Just come on, lick my bunghole, motherfucker. Sounded like a Beavis and Butthead outtake.
Absolutely. We
Yeah.
talked about that on your
Travolta
show today.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
where-
Bunghole.
Yeah.
What?
How about he said? You know he said it, and everybody was like, "I don't think you're supposed to say bunghole." And he's like, "We're keeping bunghole."
keeping
like,
it.
All right, Travolta, we'll keep bunghole.
Motherfucker, you see this mustache? I'm walking off this set.
Yeah.
I will walk if you don't keep bunghole. Like,
No, it wasn't even in the script. He like ad-libbed the line, and then he was like, I fucking love it.
yeah.
I'm sure he's-
It seems like most of his dialogue is ad-libbed. Just like,
Yeah.
motherfucker, he bookends, like we said,
Every
everything with
single
motherfucker.
line he says
Yeah.
at the end of it.
I think you could have used fuck less. Well, today was a fucking asshole of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
These are motherfucking good.
Guys, on bunghole, I guess I gotta go.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey
Ben
man, thanks for
Begley.
coming on.
Sorry,
We
everybody, I
have
have to run. but
Begley.
I'm an a-hole.
Thank
I'm
you.
a
got
bunghole
better
right
things
now.
to do.
Thank you, guys. I'm gonna let you go so you can do things.
Yeah, take care,
Don't worry,
man.
I'll promote your movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We won't talk any smack about you, man. Don't worry.
Everybody.
Take care, bud. So favorite lines.
Because we don't really have an ultimate action scene
There
to
is
do.
no ultimate action scene.
I mean, the ultimate action
You're
scenes
running
are
in
all
front of the
emotional.
camera.
Oh shit, my bad.
We're very professional here at Popcorn
We
Talk.
got this. I'm gonna just scoot over.
Yeah.
So sorry, I was doing like a Denzel impersonation, you know, because he
Yeah.
stutters intentionally on a bunch of his lines.
We can
Yeah.
make it work. Yeah.
I don't know. You
So-
ever notice how he does that?
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
that,
Does it
that
all
one
the
sound?
time.
I don't-
Yeah.
We don't really have an ultimate action scene, right? It's like it's not.
No, I mean it's either the shootout or the you redecorating.
This movie lends itself more to like a complete action movie.
Who cares? Just leave it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave it now.
You
Yeah,
should do
just talk
you
into
should do
both of
both
them.
mics like it's a
Yeah.
press conference.
For anybody on audio, we just tried to move a mic off the table. It didn't work.
For anyone on audio that's not listening anymore because we said motherfucker like 300 times.
Because
kids
we
at home and
peaked
his
your
mom.
headphones
Yeah.
repeatedly.
just bleeding out of your ears.
Yeah, so we usually do like the ultimate action scene. There really isn't one to speak of here. We will do favorite line though, and if you have a favorite line, you should tweet in or comment or let us know what your favorite line is because there's a lot of good ones.
There
A lot
are
of really good ones.
They're
I think
mostly just John Travolta.
we can't
saying.
say that one again.
No.
we can't say it again.
Bunghole motherfucker.
Just the motherfucker.
We just
gotta
have to
leave it
not
off.
say it
no,
anymore.
I'm over it.
I'm gonna jump in. So I would say
You like that term, that phrase, jump in.
I'm gonna jump in
here.
I'm gonna jump in here.
Sure.
Sure. I once got like heavily criticized by a fan on like a different show that was like that Ben guy always is just like sure, just like waiting for his turn to talk. We like make fun of it so much now. I love
Sure. Okay, so I'm gonna go with my line.
I love like when he gets on the phone with his wife.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of lines here that I like, but I really love when he's like, you tell her to run straight at the hurdles tomorrow. You tell her to run straight at the hurdles.
Damn you.
You know it's my favorite.
Like in Flight,
No.
when he's like, tell your son you love him.
Yeah,
In Flight,
yeah.
when you like, yell in the black box.
I just love it. He's like, tell her to run straight at the hurdles, and she's like, She's like, well, you tell it yourself, because we need milk. I need you to bring home a gallon. He's like, I can get a half gallon. It's like, just
It's
none
like
of
a
it
gallon.
makes any
Why
sense.
a gallon? I can get a half gallon.
And they show that in the trailer for some reason. He says the half gallon line
Yeah,
in the
of
trailer.
course.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would put that in
Whoever
the
made
trailer.
that trailer should not be allowed to make trailers anymore.
I really enjoy that trailer myself.
It's the whole movie.
Michael Bay
Well, I
made the
love it.
trailer.
That's why you like it.
Yeah, I hired
Yeah.
Michael Bay. What do you guys got favorite lines?
Good.
It was the same. Jerk. It was it's the same that, and then also the phone call between him and Travolta.
Yeah.
Which is the whole movie. No, it's when he admits to taking the bribe.
Yeah, it's
such a
like
great line.
I also actually love when Travolta says, he's like, get up, you. And the kid, he's like, what's your name? Gio. Gio, he's got an 80s skateboard thing going on here. He makes it work. That's like such a random line.
So for me, it's like one of those little one-off kind of things. Like, so who the hell did you fuck to get this job? And Walter Garber says, myself was easier than it looked. And then the police captain Hill says, yeah, fucking yourself always is.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah,
Great line.
Just one of those throwaways.
Gritty, man.
Yeah.
So much cursing.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a bunch of just leave it, dude. There's a bunch of obscene, just too many, just cussing too much.
There's a lot of cursing.
That is like it doesn't fit.
Watch Ben Bateman
Oh my
try and make
gosh.
this happen.
Why don't you
just
just
do
leave it,
this.
man?
He
Killing me right
can't.
now.
He's got to take Pelham 1, 2, and 3.
Look at that, guys.
We
3
did it.
mics.
You did
Wow.
it. You did it.
After all that, all
Yeah.
right, let's go into our hero and villain ranking.
Oh, I think we all know.
That neither of them are on the list. There's no way that either
If
of these
either of
guys.
them made this list, I'd walk off the
I
show.
know
and say
he's
thank you
gonna
guys.
get him on the list.
I would consider putting Ryder on my villains list because he's
What?
such an entertaining and memorable villain for
He's
me.
the worst.
He's great.
He is nothing. There's nothing
He
intimidating
is more
about him.
memorable than the Train and Unstoppable.
I was
Listen,
just gonna
I
say
looked
the
at
Train
both
and
of you guys.
Unstoppable is more intimidating
I agree.
than he is.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
one. The Train is more entertaining than John Travolta.
I mean, I'm just trying to see here. So I have Howard Payne at 50. I have Cyrus the Virus at 49. Oh, those are yours. Can we scroll down here so I can see the bottom now? Yeah.
Howard Payne.
Yeah.
Who's that? Oh, is
Major
that
Payne
that's-
from-
that's
is that-
Speed?
Damon Wayans.
There we go. Okay, so it looks like I have Cyrus the Virus as my last one. I didn't even. And Howard Payne is. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna put Ryder at 50. Easy 50. He's top 50, guys.
You can walk off. I won't blame you.
I'm not going to take him in the top 50 because
No, dude. There's nothing. Like no.
John Travolta in Swordfish is more villainous than Ryder.
I
in Taking of Pelham
disagree.
1,
He's
2,
way
3.
less memorable. Can you quote any of his lines?
No, I
what?
couldn't quote
In
any
what
of his
movie?
lines before I got to this movie.
But I bet you could quote a lot of the lines now.
Yeah.
Now, yeah. Watch
I
it
can
2
quote as
days
many as I
ago.
want, motherfucker.
All right. Moving on. We can get to where this movie actually ranks on our personal lists.
Yes.
Because we have the all-time top.
'Cause out of the shows that you've done,
Yeah, the 25
Yes.
movies that we've already done, we've started to
26.
rank them. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So Andrew and I have now done. So Andrew's ranking. Let's see here.
what's at 25 for you?
Looks like
The very lowest. Oh, it's Independence Day on both of ours. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
I'd take Independence Day over this anytime.
I actually think I might too.
Should be 26.
Yeah, dude, this is the worst movie we've done on the show. It doesn't fit our criteria.
Taking
it's
of
just
Pelham?
not a
But I
good
think
movie.
it
Are you
works,
out of your mind?
It works really well with Guilty Movie Pleasures.
It
because
does.
this is
This is
worse than
Guilty Movie
Independence
Pleasures.
exactly.
Day. You're out of your mind.
Dude, this is way better.
is-
Independence Day is way better than this movie.
Independence Day is a terrible movie.
No, it's not.
It's a very bad movie.
It is a bad
Harry
movie.
Connick
This
Jr.?
is a worse movie.
This goes directly.
This goes right
between-
next to the number 1 on Ben's.
I like this movie more than a lot of these movies, but I can definitely understand that I'm maybe being like a little bit just slightly biased. I'm gonna put it ahead
Slightly.
of Con Air, maybe
What?
ahead of
Right? I'm like sick to
John
my stomach.
Wick?
Even my sister thinks you're an idiot.
Ahead of John Wick?
Look at that. You got
Taken.
2 thumbs. You got 3 thumbs down from my
Lethal
family.
Weapon.
6
Chris.
thumbs
I'm gonna
down.
go. I'm an 8.
8.
Yeah, all right. I'll put it one spot behind Taken. That's where I'll put it.
So what do you have it in front of?
Looks like I've got it.
Furious
in
7, Lethal Weapon.
front of, yeah. Rambo: First Blood Part 2,
You-
Independence Day, and
feel
Jurassic
s-
World.
I actually, yeah, just throw it at him, dude. I feel sick, and that's not because of how much I drank last. That's partially why I feel sick. The other part of why I feel sick is that is the worst ranking ever for a movie.
Jurassic
think
World?
that this movie's great. This movie's a classic.
I honestly at this point I think he's just doing to get a goat out of us. Like this is
Yeah,
this
he's just
is
trying to like.
Except that he knows I'm not, because he knows how much I love this movie.
loves this movie.
Love this movie.
unbelievable.
All right, guys, I'm gonna move on from
We
arguing.
lost all of our viewers.
We have
No
no
one's
viewers
watching.
left. Somebody just broke their screen. They're suing us. We usually do recast, right? That's like one of the things
I like
we do
the
here.
recast move.
it's
But
fun,
I threw
right?
away my recast thing.
We decided to leave Denzel
Give me that back.
off the recast list because we feel like it's
it off
been
camera.
recent enough. You can't really recast Denzel in this movie.
Well, you don't want to recast him in this movie.
He's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, you can't do it.
I mean, he's the best part of it, by far. So we chose John Travolta, John Turturro, James Gandolfini, and Luis Guzman as the 4 characters to recast if the movie was going to be just remade again for the 4th time.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like I have a couple good ones here.
I feel pretty good about mine.
Yeah, I thought of like the only one that I thought of on the way here, and I can't remember, is who plays the mayor in my recast. So maybe it'll come to mind as we're talking.
I went with Brendan Gleeson
For the mayor,
for the mayor.
That's
pretty
not
good.
bad.
Yeah, big
Yeah.
fan of him, and
Yeah.
I could just see him doing all of the things.
rock solid.
Yeah.
I think. What should we, I mean? Do you guys want to go in order around the table and start
Yeah,
with
go ahead,
Travolta,
go
or do you
ahead,
want
do
to
your
go
goose.
up the?
Well, we should have started with Guzman, but I hopped in just because I was
You
proud
can
of
go
my
with your
Gleason.
mayor, and if I can remember mine while we're talking, I'll throw it in there.
Okay.
Who do you got?
Luis Guzman. I was going to take Michael Pena. I know we're staying in
that's
like
great.
if we're staying
Yeah.
in like the Latino kind of
Right,
thing.
right,
I
right,
love
I get
Michael
it.
Pena. He was great in what did I just see?
Oh yeah, I know. I just Martian.
Yes,
Yeah,
he was
really-
great in Martian.
really love Martian.
Yeah,
I need to watch that
fantastic.
The movie's great.
For my Guzman, I went with shout out to Autumn. I went with Michael Chiklis.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I went with Joe Pantoliano for that role.
Wow.
That's so funny because I actually used Joe in my recast, but for someone else.
Joe
Nice.
Pantoliano is the chief in Bad Boys. Bad Boys 2
Yeah.
Bad Boys 2 is one of my favorite
very
movies
good.
of all time.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, Pantoliano's just great.
Oh, he's
That's a great
fantastic.
jam.
Goddamn you,
And-
Cypher!
Yeah. Goddamn you, Cypher!
And you're staying in the Sopranos family with Gandolfini and
Yeah.
Joey Pants and all
True,
that
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of stuff.
So wait, did you give
See,
your
like,
mayor yet?
No, I didn't get my mayor. And you guys are. I kind of stayed, I guess, with like in the same genre of kind of
Yeah,
actor.
yeah.
So like fat actor.
Totally.
Sure.
I went Gerard Depardieu as Jason.
really?
Gerard Depardieu.
He doesn't play a lot of American actors ever, so it's
Right.
like throw Gerard Depardieu.
Make
about
him the mayor.
Yeah,
That's
because he
pretty
kind of
funny.
looks like. I mean, he kind of looks like a New York Upper East Side Jewish guy that
Right,
they, like
right,
ran
right.
for mayor, kind of
Right.
dirty,
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit of
yeah.
a dirtier guy.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
I love when in adaptation when Nick Cage is like thinking, he's like, who would play me in my movie? Maybe that dashing Gerard Depardieu. It's like so good.
Cage is good. It's
a good
It's
Cage.
spot on. Yeah.
What do you got?
I already did my mayor.
Okay, yeah, and I haven't come up with my. Well, I had like a bunch. I'm so mad because I felt like I
You
really
need to write these down.
I never write them down.
never
It's
write
always
them
a problem.
down.
This has happened before. I may remember it at some point for the show's over. Who's John Turturro? What do you guys got?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna stick in the Sopranos family. Michael Pirioli.
Oh yeah,
I think-
oh that's really
That's a
good.
good one.
We lose a James Gandolfini. You bring in another Sopranos actor.
bring in Christopher?
And you bring Chrissy Pants.
Yeah.
And he's a good New Yorker. He played. I think he would be really good in that role because he's like the everyday kind of guy.
He
Yeah.
actually might be really good. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
one. Yeah, I think that's really solid.
I brought in someone that can actually bring something to a character.
Yeah.
Since Turturro just can't do it, even though he's a good actor.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
I went with Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh,
Oh wow.
Gus.
That's
from
clever.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
that's very good.
Yeah.
Gus Fring.
I like it.
He's not in a ton.
No,
No,
and he
he's
should
not.
be.
Yeah, they
Very
kept
good
him in a
actor.
lot of
Very
TV,
good.
but he's a great actor. Yeah.
Yeah, guy's fantastic. I went with Mark Ruffalo.
Oh,
I like
For
Ruffalo.
Turturro, yeah.
I'll give you Ruffalo.
He's got the like he's capable, you know. I don't know. I think I like him. I think
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
good.
He can play like the every guy.
Yeah.
He can also put on a suit and be a
And he can be
FBI
kind
guy.
of a dick if you need him to be.
Absolutely.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Solid. Who do you guys got as who?
My two were tied for the
writer?
writer.
Who?
I had Timothy Oliphant.
I thought about that. Yeah.
Do you think about
He's a villain.
Timothy Oliphant?
He's just not that good in Die Hard when he plays a villain. He's just okay.
Yeah. I think that movie just sucks. So it ruined
a bad
Oliphant for
movie.
me.
Yeah.
And John Cusack. I know
Oh.
Cusack rarely plays a villain, but I think he would be a good writer in this thing.
The thing that's
Anyone
hilarious,
could be a good writer.
Yeah.
the thing that's hilarious is when you think about Travolta in this role, it's so miscast and he's so weird and
Yeah.
he's so over the top. You can essentially take any washed up 80s, 90s actor
And they'll be better.
who's aging
Yeah.
and put them in the same role and think about them being funny. Like, think about Nick Cage. It's hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
the idea
Yeah.
of
I actually
John
had him
Cusack.
written down for a minute.
Hilarious.
I was like, I can't do it.
I went a little more serious with
Well,
mine.
I know you guys like Cage, so I saved him.
Oh.
For like, if we were gonna say like,
You want him to play Denzel?
no, I would say Cage as writer.
That's
Cage,
what you're going
yeah.
for?
Oh, I mean, he's the clear choice.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, I had that
Without
written down too, and then
Yeah.
I love it. I went serious. I went Jeremy Renner. I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I just sort of like the idea of him actually being a little more intimidating,
Okay.
as opposed to just like.
He's great in the town. He's intimidating in that.
Yeah. Renner's great. I think
Yeah.
he'd be very good.
That's where I used my my Pantoliano.
Oh, okay.
Was for Travolta.
For Travolta.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Because he's not intimidating, just like Travolta's not intimidating. But
Right.
you could see him be like a weasel. You could see him being like,
Yeah.
Cypher, you know.
Totally.
And he could rock that neck tattoo.
Yeah.
Sweet neck
So
tattoo.
Clooney with the neck tattoo in From Dusk Till Dawn meets Ryder from Taking of Pelham
Right.
1, 2, 3
Exactly.
with the neck tattoo.
Clooney's the other guy that I could think of that would be like could play Denzel in this role.
Yeah.
Well, he's like
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
good. They kind of have the exact same quality. They're kind of likable in all the same ways as actors. They're great at being the smartest guy in the room. That's
Yeah.
like their best quality.
Yeah, but Travolta comes off. Clooney can come off as a douchebag,
a little bit.
whereas I feel like Denzel comes off as
And
you said, a
Clooney-
noble savage.
Yeah, he's-
Clooney as a villain just doesn't work.
No,
ever.
I was saying as
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm thinking
yeah.
like on the flip side of things. Yeah.
Agreed. All right. Well, I can't remember my mayor, so that's a problem. But I guess I'm just
fired,
not gonna recast the mayor. God,
He's out.
Need to just.
Stick
Hey, we
with
got an
Gandolfini.
opening on my show, Action Movie Anatomy. If you want to come on, we can audition you.
Can you do a Tom Cruise impersonation?
No.
Oh,
well, never
because I
mind.
can.
Because I can't, Josh.
I think we sort of already talked about Cage versus Cruise.
Yep.
The idea of Cruise playing the Travolta role is also hilarious.
It's great.
Yeah, just super.
Well, it's like if you took his role in Collateral
yeah.
and then kind of like cartoonized it,
Yeah.
that would be Ryder.
Open door. Do it. The beginning one, yeah.
Do it with Cruise.
Do
though.
it with Cruz. Look, open the door right now.
You have to listen to me. Open the door. Do it now, or I'll fucking kill you.
Yeah, see, it's way better than
It's the,
that
it's
was
the
better
Cruise,
than Travolta.
like the Cruise solid exhale after
Yeah.
all like a solid line.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's like it's very Cruise.
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
Cruz.
Open the door. Do it now.
It's good.
So
I can't wait to see what you
Cruz.
rank this movie as.
Which?
in the 3 categories?
Oh, it's totally the middle category, 100%. It's because Denzel's so good. No question. If Denzel was bad, if he didn't root the
Yeah.
movie for me,
Right.
then it would be totally ridiculous. But because Denzel is so good in this movie, it's the same thing we always talk about. It's
Right.
totally absurd in every other regard. It has a hilariously bad villain, but Denzel's so good, and those few scenes are so good that this movie's in the middle category for me.
Which
and-
we have our 3 categories.
Yeah, there's 3 categories of action movies. There's totally ridiculous, which is like Face Off, Con Air, Falls Off a Cliff of Absurdity. There's totally legitimate, which is movies like The Fugitive or The Matrix. And then there's ridiculously legitimate, which is the middle category, just what I'm talking about, kind of a hybrid of absurd and comedic and awesome and engaging. And I think that's
Right.
what this movie
I
is
think
for me.
so too. I think it's the middle, and I think the reason why too is because there are like you said, the Travolta is such a cartoon. There's a lot of things in this movie that are just kind of off the wall. Denzel really legitimizes it, but it also you could see it taking place over a day in New York. Crazier
Right,
things
right.
have happened in New York. You know what I mean? Like some guy kidnaps
Yeah.
somebody on a train, takes it for a ride, and the way Tony Scott does it makes it totally legitimate to me.
So you think it's totally legit?
No. I think
Oh.
legitimate in the ridiculously legitimate part.
Ridiculously legit?
Yeah.
What about you, Drew?
I think this movie is totally ridiculous.
Really? Even with Denzel
Even with
being as good
Denzel.
as he is?
Yeah.
Doesn't
There's
matter.
no way they would have this MTA operator talking in a hostage situation. Even, I do like, they do a good job of like tying things together, even like with the stupid money transfer
Right.
from A to B with like 20 cars, and the mayor's like, why don't we just use a helicopter?
Why don't we just use a helicopter?
You know?
Chrissy?
They like literally are creating issues in this movie because there's not enough going on.
Right.
This movie is totally ridiculous.
You're such a hater.
I hate this movie.
Haterade,
I don't
full
hate
of
this
it.
movie. I do not hate it. It's just not good.
And I'm so
And
mad.
My mom is not a fan.
What do you guys
Sit
think? What do you
and
guys
like it.
think? Which category for you?
I agree with Andrew.
Yeah,
Totally
she-
ridiculous?
Yeah, of course you do.
Of
It's your
course
son.
you agree with Andrew.
Thanks, Mom. But you, Les?
I think it's pretty ridiculous. I think because of John Travolta too.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
just not very believable.
No, he's the worst.
And the neck tattoo was pretty
It's just
random.
amazing is what
It's
it
the
is.
worst.
And I was this also in number 26.
There it is, Bateman.
You guys. This will be one of those like. There's like a couple movies that are on our rankings list where it's very clear that I'm making a point. Like Edge of Tomorrow being like number 4 is very clear.
Yeah,
me making a point.
I saw that and I was like, you have that ahead of Die Hard.
Yeah.
I
I'm gonna
had
punch
Con
you.
Air at like 6 for a while. I was
Yeah,
like, I
sure.
can't do it.
Yeah.
I love that movie so much
I do
growing
love
up.
that movie.
Or like me
too.
having Dutch at number 2 on my heroes list. It's
Yeah.
just like making a point.
And I said, I was like, who's one? You're like, I haven't found one yet.
Yeah.
It's like, it's John McClane. John McClane is one.
It's Russell Crowe and Gladiator.
You wanted a miracle, I give you the FBI. Love Hans Gruber.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's the show. That's the end of our show. We're going to give a mug away really quickly to one of our fans that has been kind enough to review us on iTunes.
Nice.
As we said, guys, if we get 2 more, we're gonna stop giving mugs away. But if we don't get 19 and 20
review
because we haven't gotten one since last week, we can't give another mug away until we get at least one more edition here.
Yeah.
Because we're not just gonna give 18 mugs away until we get to 20. That's not the way it's gonna work.
What are we? Pelham 1, 2, 3. Come on.
Who'd you get?
Baby's got you.
He's like, I don't want the show to be over yet. Let's go back into the categories.
I'm gonna go to this review number 18, Traveling Back on Time to 1962 by Steven _T1000, clearly an action movie fan.
Yeah.
He says, to bow down to the man, the myth, the legend, and the star of this show, Tom Cruise! Hashtag Anatomy of Cruise.
Anatomy of Cruise.
It's not even
what
like
Cruise movies have you done in here besides Edge of Tomorrow?
Done MI 4, 5, and 3.
Okay.
Edge of Tomorrow and Minority Report.
We've done 5.
We've only done 25 shows.
Yeah. And they're like all of the best tracking episodes for the most part. Like they're like all popular.
Yeah.
They're great. We did when we did Edge of Tomorrow, we did our iTunes plug in Cruise voice. That was pretty good.
It was fun. It was
Solid.
good.
That was a good clip. So that's the show. Thank you so much for coming and joining us.
Thank you. Hey, thank you guys so much again for being on.
Begley, thank you for coming
Go
by
to
the
movie
show.
pleasures.
Oh, you're gone.
We'd
You're
love to
not
have you
here.
guys back anytime. Again, like I said on the episode, you guys pick the movie next time, and we'll go to town.
Hell yeah, man. Where can people find you?
At Josh Macuga on Twitter and Instagram, and my YouTube channel, Between the Sheets TV.
What's that about?
I have my own talk show.
But I'm saying, what's the talk show about?
Stuff that goes on between the sheets.
Gotcha. Okay. Andrew, where can people find you?
You can find me at Ghai on Twitter. Thanks for watching our fucking show.
That's gonna go like into the sizzle reel.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that in there. Ben Bateman, you guys can find me Ben Bateman Media, Twitter and Instagram. I love doing this show. We'll see you next week.
All right.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Christian Harloff, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.